If you're wondering why I'm so rugged up today, it's because it's actually snowing in Tokyo, which is very, very rare, and thus it is very, very cold. I've got to protect myself from this cold air, and you know who else needs to apparently protect themselves? Manga IP owners. Damn, Joe, what a great segue. That my finest work indeed. If you've been on Twitter or on any kind of social media site in the past couple of years, you might know that there have been a lot of leaking incidences. People managed to grab screenshots and scannings and even fan translations of up-and-coming or brand new chapters of currently serializing manga, supposedly out of nowhere. It's happened a lot, and in the past it's caused quite a bit of controversy, like the time when someone leaked the latest chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, which showed a very liked character going through a particular plot twist that a lot of fans were definitely not happy with. I might not be the biggest fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, but even I didn't see that shit coming. But it seems like Japan now is finally cracking its knuckles and handing down the judgment to those who are going out of their way to leak stuff early. A news article here from NHK, specifically Kumamoto NHK, Kumamoto being a prefecture all the way down the south, just published a paper today talking about how two people, more specifically two leakers in Japan of up-and-coming or not even yet released chapters of some currently serializing Shonen Jump series have finally been arrested on copyright infringement charges. Which, if you know anything about how copyright works in Japan and how watertight that stuff is when it comes to leniency, especially compared to other Western countries, like any English-speaking country that has fair use as a term that can protect a lot of people from wrongful copyright infringement laws. In Japan, that shit doesn't exist at all. There is no such thing as fair use here in Japan, and if you are caught even thinking about breaching any kind of copyright or thinking about sharing anything that is fallen under copyrighted material without given permission or consent from the copyright owner, yo ass going to the judge. Luckily today we don't have to follow a Japanese article, and it saves me from translating on the spot because somebody on Twitter has done the big TLDR for me. So we're going to be reading through this and talking about the details and I guess what the implications are for futures of leakers, I guess. So two people, including a Tokyo-based company owner, were arrested by the Kumamoto Prefectural Police on suspicion of violating the Copyright Act by posting images of manga magazines on the internet before they were released. According to the police, the two denied some of the charges, saying that they did not publish the images. There's a couple of questions floating around in my head. One, how are these people getting scans of not yet published magazine chapters? Like, did they like hack into Shueisha's database, or are they potentially like Shueisha like workers who are just kind of leaking shit from the inside? And two, it seems like from already hearing about this, I guess, first paragraph, it seems like, and I don't know if it's been a long time since they've been doing this, but it seems like that they've been doing it for a long time and only finally just got figured out. So I don't know how it took Shueisha or the Japanese police this long to find that stuff, because if they took one step into the English-speaking anime Twitter community, they would know that it is actually unavoidable. Like, that's how many leaks there have been, especially in the past couple of years. The arrest suspects include Musa Samir, 36, a foreign national who runs Japan Deal World LLC in Kitaku, Tokyo, which was also arrested on suspicion of violating the copyright law. Ooh, as if it couldn't already be bad if it was a Japanese person. This is a foreigner in Japan doing this stuff. Oh man, the judge is not going to be nice to this person, I can already tell. According to the investigation by the police, the two suspects were arrested for the following. In March last year, they posted on the internet without permission image data of a popular manga serialized in Shueisha's magazine Weekly Shonen Jump a few days before its release, making the data available for viewing. On the 31st of last month, he was suspected of violating the Copyright Act by using a smartphone to photograph and reproduce an image of a manga magazine 5 days before its release. This wasn't just like some kind of like image that was like floating around on the internet which went unnoticed, that he just happened to pick up and spread and it become put in front of everybody's eyes. No, he had somehow the physical page from some means, I don't know how, took a picture of it on his phone and then posted that to the internet. Again, the question is, how did you get that image? I guess we'll find out if we keep reading this tweet. The two had obtained the magazines at a store in Tokyo prior to their release date. The police believe that there may have been other people involved and are investigating the details of the operation. So wait, it was available in a store in Tokyo and it was before the release date? Like, how does that work? Maybe there were convenience store workers and they happened to get the shipment of the brand new magazines, you know, a couple of days prior before putting it out on the shelves. I don't know what store this tweet is talking about, or any kind of store really in Tokyo that has copies of Shonen Jump stuff before it gets released. I don't necessarily know how that shit works, but I don't know. Maybe it was a bookstore, maybe it was a convenience store, who knows. Shueisha, the company that received the damage, commented on the arrest of the suspects. We hope that the police's clarification of the spoiler route will help prevent further damage in the future. We will continue to take all possible measures to protect the rights to the works that the authors have put their heart and soul into and ensure that readers can enjoy the manga in an appropriate manner. That statement by Shueisha, I 100% agree with. I've never really liked, leaks or any of that kind of stuff. Not that there are a lot of manga series that are currently serializing that end up getting leaks, at least the ones that I read anyway. So I have never really personally been affected by leaks on the internet that have enjoyed, my experience with reading a manga. But for a lot of people out there, especially those who live overseas and only read some of the really, really mainstream stuff like One Piece or Jujutsu Kaisen or, any of the big shows that are currently serializing on Shonen Jump, yeah, it would piss me off. And, if we go back in time to when I used to read Shonen Jump weekly, not that I do much anymore, but back when I did a lot, if that happened to me during that time, I'd be pretty annoyed as well, because there is nothing fun about finding a leak. Literally, there is nothing fun about finding a leak. I don't understand the mentality of people who get excited and being like, yo, massive W, we figured out what was going to happen before it happened. Do they have some kind of complex of yeah, I knew this thing before it got released, harumph. Especially if you obtain that in a straight up illegal way. I don't see what's the hype about it or anything. Wouldn't it be more fun and interesting to find out what happens in an upcoming chapter at the same time that everybody else finds out? If you manage to get the chapter in a way that was consenting to Shueisha's wishes, maybe you're in good terms with Shueisha and they happen to send you a copy, or how reviewers for video games and stuff like that get review copies like I recently did for Persona 3 Reload, then I would understand, okay, yeah, that's pretty hype, that's pretty cool, because you got full consent from the creators to get this thing early. But if you're getting it in illegal means, I don't really see the fun in that. I don't really see the point in that. And if that's the one thing you use to one up someone on the Twitter anime community, then I don't know, man, you really have to rethink about what your stance is in that community as a whole, or what your stance is as a manga fan in general is like. Big $1 million question here. Why is it possible to post the pages of a magazine before it is released? Same question I was asking. Let's find out. In the process of distributing and selling magazines nationwide, publishers deliver magazines to bookstores before their official release date in order to have them sold simultaneously at bookstores nationwide on the official release date. Okay, so I was right. Yeah, it's basically, they're probably working at a bookstore. They get the shipments early so that they can prepare to put it on the shelves on the day that it's supposed to be released. And I guess in that case, some of the staff just get a little bit sneaky, flip the pages a little bit, take a picture, and then upload it as a leak. In this case, the publishers request the bookstores to start selling the magazines on the official release date. However, some stores that handle the magazines do not follow this rule and sell the magazines before the official release date. Well, that's just shit management by the bookstores, if you ask me. Some of the magazines were altered to make them appear as if they had not been read from paper magazines, but the publishers confirmed that no digital data had been leaked from the publishers. Okay, so this is not like a hacking thing or anything. This is literally just, you took the physical thing, you peeked at it, and you figured it out. A tale as old as time, if you ask me. When images are posted on social media like Twitter, the nature of social networking sites is such that posts based on users' interests are displayed as recommendations. In some cases, users are unintentionally forced to read the spoilers. This means that there are cases in which users are unintentionally forced to read the next chapter of a manga. And that's kind of what was happening to me as well. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I don't read the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, but I do understand that it is the most talked about Shonen Jump manga as of the time of me recording this video. But even for someone who has like literally no interest in like finding out what the next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen is or looks that shit up or anything like that, it's still appeared on my feed like I freaking asked for it, which I didn't. So what I had to end up doing was actually blocking the words Jujutsu Kaisen or JJK from my feed for a while because it was just getting really annoying. And I saw a lot of people when the massive leaks did happen of people just being like, yeah, I literally had to block the words in order for it to not appear on my feed because it would just appear in my face every time I opened up Twitter without me searching for it, which, you know, if I was a reader of Jujutsu Kaisen Weekly, I'd be pretty fucking pissed off at that. In one case, the publisher received more than 1,000 complaints from readers in a span of nearly a week, including complaints such as, I'm going to stop my subscription of Jump, which is really unfortunate because, you know, this is not Shonen Jump's fault. This is the fault of two idiots who thought that they could one-up the entire Twitter anime community by posting leaks. However, in many cases, the leakers delete the images before the request is made, thereby avoiding account suspension, and the response is not keeping pace with the situation, said Miya Tomishige, head of the intellectual property division at Shueisha. He added, the fact that works are being read for free has resulted in a situation where the authors are not receiving fair profit. We believe that taking pictures of manga works without permission and leaking them on social media constitutes an infringement of copyright, and we ask that such behavior be stopped. It is an unforgivable act that could shake the very structure of the industry itself. And in a lot of respects, I totally agree with this statement. It's already pretty common knowledge if you are following along with like the manga community and the inner workings of the manga industry that the one and really only way that any of these manga creators are making money is based on sales of their manga. Whether that be from buying a physical copy of Shonen Jump and some of that money going towards the authors, or the much better way to give your favorite author money is to buy the tankobons or the physical, you know, volume books that you get in bookstores a lot later. That's why I've always opted to buying physical books of manga that I like, because I really want to support the person who made this great story and I want to see them live a prosperous life. I want to see them be rewarded for giving me a story that I was really engaged in and that I really enjoy. And I think every manga fan or people who care about manga should do the exact same thing. And, you know, if you live in a country where, for example, you can't get the physical books, then there are things like the Shonen Jump app, which is owned by Shueisha, that is kind of this equivalent to that, but just in the digital form. I know this makes it sound like this is like an ad for Jump, but you could equate Jump to any other publication company and it would be the same thing. So the real question now is, what is the purpose of these leakers who go around leaking manga chapters before schedule? Well, I can think of a number of reasons. One, as I mentioned earlier, they probably have some kind of like god complex to be like, hey, look, check it out. I've got the access and of the original like screenshots of the upcoming chapter that the rest of the internet is dying to see. And I know you guys are excited for it. And I know you guys have goldfish mentality where you can't wait a couple of days for this to come out. So here you go. I'm being the martyr here. I'm being the savior for the anime community. And number two, and I think this one is definitely more realistic, is that there are monetary incentives for these leakers, especially those that run websites that host a lot of these leaked images. Because ad revenue is a thing that is not just on YouTube, but also on any website that you can create. If you sign up to Google Ads when creating a website, then you can put banner ads or pop-up ads or any kind of advertisement on your website, and for every time that page is viewed and those ads are viewed, that is money that is lining the pockets of the website creators. Even in the case with Twitter, for example, you know, you can get paid on Twitter now for post engagement, so that is also monetary incentive for these leakers to post on Twitter or any kind of social media. And they probably saw the money coming in, they're like, wow, this is like really easy money. I get so much interactions from the website or the tweets or whatever it is that I post on because there is such a large demand for it, and I'm getting paid for it as well. So hey, it's a win-win for everybody. Everybody who follows the manga and doesn't want to resort to copyright infringement gets to see the chapters early because of me, and I get a little bit of money in exchange. And what's really, I guess, sad, I think, about this whole situation, as someone who is completely against leaks. I think it is really ridiculous and is, you know, if I had to say it in a really pretentious way, is kind of ruining the sanctity of weekly manga or monthly manga, that I don't think this news or this arrest is necessarily going to stop leaking from happening. Because much like piracy, I think a massive issue is not so much the gatekeeping by the owners of, you know, hey, you have to wait like everybody else, or you have to pay money to see this properly, but it's a lack of a service that is provided to people all over the world that gives easy access to anybody and everybody who wants to consume this particular medium. Like, that's why for me personally, after a lot of these like big streaming sites like Netflix that I was already using to watch other stuff started introducing anime, it has actually made me less wanting to go onto pirated websites to watch anime, because a lot of what I already want to watch is already available on this website that I already pay a subscription for anyway. And you know, there are other sites like Crunchyroll and all these other legitimate streaming sites that host all of these other anime series that people are, again, probably already paying subscriptions for anyway, so it's already there. You don't have to go out of your way to search it up and possibly infect your computer with 1,000 Trojan viruses. And look, I know me bringing that up is probably going to open up an entire different can of worms about, you know, streaming sites and, you know, how those kinds of services are not necessarily the best thing for anime either, but those are a lot better than what these fucking leakers are doing, let me tell you that. And I think that's a big reason why, say for example, in the case with Shonen Jump, which is, you know, what we're talking about today, started up their own app that is internationally available with proper, you know, official English translations, and put it on an app that everybody can access, everybody can download, and you can pay for, and that money goes to not only the publications, but also eventually trickles down to the authors and supports them that way too. But look, it is understandable that, you know, especially a lot of young manga and anime fans who don't have that much money are probably going to resort to piracy or, you know, leaks and, you know, relying on these leakers to get their weekly fill of their favorite Shonen Jump magazine manga. And I think that's something that at this point in time, there is no real solution for. And I do sympathize with a lot of these younger manga and anime watchers and readers, because that's how we all started, especially back in the day when I was like, you know, 13, 14 years old. Like, Crunchyroll wasn't even a thing. Netflix didn't have anime. Like, Disney Plus didn't have anime. The only way that you could watch anime or read manga was to go out of your way to buy the physical book, or sit in front of your TV at 2 in the morning and watch the rerun of the show that you missed out on. So compared to that, the accessibility of manga and anime has definitely gotten a lot better, but it hasn't been completely solved yet. And I think, especially in the past 5-10 years or so, with the real explosion and mainstream appeal of a lot of manga and anime, I think has caused a lot of these like leak you know, communities or leak culture on social media to really be prominent. So yeah, regardless of what the actual punishment for these two leakers are, it is pretty sad that I don't think we're going to see the end of leaks, but I can say with full confidence that leaking culture is stupid. Don't support it, because by supporting it, you are not supporting the creators whose works you supposedly love so much. And at the same time, it is also a slight fault on the manga industry's side as well for not giving enough accessibility to those who potentially don't live in Japan or can't buy physical manga volumes. So yeah, I get it from both sides, but at the end of the day, these leakers committed a crime in Japan, and copyright infringement is a pretty severe crime in Japan, so I wouldn't be surprised if these two guys get a pretty bad run from this court case, but we're gonna have to see what the final verdict is on all of this. But regardless, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this piece of news. Do you support leaking culture? Do you think leaking culture is good? Is it bad? And thanks for watching. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right there. Subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger. Over here next to my head is a couple more videos you can check out if you enjoyed this one. Links to my social media, as well as my Patreon to support me directly. And Nonsense, we make some sick clothes. Check it out at nonsense.jp. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.